today I'm going to show you how to make crock-pot classic goulash recipe. And I'm going to place a skillet on a burner and put it on medium-high heat. We're going to add 1.5 pounds of ground beef into the skillet. Start breaking it up. We want to cook it until it is nice and brown and no longer pink. Why are we doing this, you ask? I like the texture of cooked ground beef before it goes into the crock pot. Now, while you're browning up your ground beef, you can go ahead and start chopping up a bell pepper, which I already did for you guys. And then I've got 2 small onions that I'm going to chop up also. Okay, so the ground beef is almost browned up. What I'm going to do now is go ahead and add the onion. I want to get that softened down just a little bit before I put it into the crock pot. All right, I'm going to go ahead now and throw in the peppers that we diced up. Start softening those down just a little bit. We're just going to do this for another 2 to 3 minutes. All right, what we're going to do now is start putting our ground beef, peppers, and onions into the crock pot. Now I'm just going to use a slotted spoon to kind of drain the grease out. Okay, we're going to add all this deliciousness right here into the crock pot with the ground beef, peppers, and onions. First thing you need, 1 can of diced tomatoes. This is 14 ounces. 1 jar of pasta sauce, 24 ounces. I'm going to fill the jar up with 1 cup of beef broth, give it a shake. I've got a can of 10 ounces of tomato soup, 2 teaspoons of Worcestershire sauce, 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 1 tablespoon of Italian seasoning. Mix it all together. We're going to place the lid on and we're going to cook this on high for 2 hours or on low for 4 hours. We're going to come back and I'm going to show you how we're going to incorporate the pasta and the cheese. Yum! You want to keep your crock pot on the high heat. Add your pasta. This is 12 ounces of elbow macaroni. All right, stir it in. Get it nice and covered. Look at your liquid level. If you feel like you need to add any more, go ahead. We're going to place the lid back on. I stole a little spoonful because I wanted to taste it and make sure that the flavorings are all there. That's good. We've got one more thing that's going to happen to this dish. Give it a little saltiness also. So when we come back, we're going to finish this off. We're halfway through the cook time, so what we're going to do is just remove the lid, give it a stir, and then we'll place the lid back on. Yeah, this is so done. Make sure that you turn off your crock pot. Let's add our cheese. Any kind of shredded cheese, mix that all together. I'm going to plate this up and give it a try for you. Okay, here's my bite. Oh my gosh, this is delicious. Today it is slow cooked sloppy joe casserole in the crock pot. We're going to start off by making a delicious hash brown crust on the bottom, and that's going to absorb the delicious flavors of that sloppy joe. We're going to start in a large bowl. We're going to be using some hash browns, 32 ounces. I find these hash browns in the refrigerator section of my store. If you find hash browns in your freezer section of your store, you just want to make sure you thaw them out. So these are 20 ounces each, so I'll be using 1.5 bags. We're going to put in 1 egg. This will hold as the binder. I'm going to keep it all together. 1 can of cheddar cheese soup, 10.5 ounces. Let's add that. Give it some nice cheesy flavor. A little grain of salt, about 1/4 teaspoon. I'm going to add in 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper. We're just going to go right across the top. Onion powder, garlic, right across the top. That's it. Let's go ahead and mix this together. If your people are like my people, they're gonna come for this recipe. We're gonna spray the inside of our crock pot. Now you can use a 5 or a 6 quart crock pot. Let's go ahead and take that potato mixture and we're gonna place it right into the bottom of our crock pot. We're just gonna evenly distribute it. So in a large skillet over medium-high heat, I'm gonna add about 1.5 pounds of ground beef. I'm gonna get my meat chopper, we're gonna break this all up, and then we're gonna start chopping up some onion and peppers to put in here. We'll go ahead and add these to the ground beef. All right, I'm gonna finish browning up the ground beef and softening down the peppers and the onions. I'm gonna bring you back. Drain out any excess grease. 1 can of Manwich Original Sloppy Joe sauce. This can is 15 ounces. So it's got all of the seasonings that you're gonna need in here. We're gonna add this to the ground beef mixture. We're gonna mix this together. Once we get it all combined, you just want to turn off the heat. We're going to take our meat mixture and we're going to pour it all over the hash brown casserole in the bottom of our crock pot. We're going to smooth it out. All right, I'm just going to clean off the edge here. We're going to place the lid on and then we're going to cook this for 4 hours on low. I'll be back. I'm going to show you how we're going to top this off and give it a try for you. 15 minutes before the 4 hours is up, we're going to go ahead and take 8 ounces of shredded cheddar cheese and we're going to put it right on top. Place the lid on. We're going to cook it an additional 15 minutes till that cheese is nice and melted. My cheese has melted. Let's finish off the top of the casserole here with some fresh parsley. Give it a nice little color. All right, what do y'all think? All right, we're gonna dig in. Go all the way down to the bottom where those potatoes are, and then come up. Give this a try for you. That's very delicious. You know, it takes me back to when I used to eat sloppy joes all the time. Today is crock pot day. We are going to slow cook some delicious pork chops, potatoes, and carrots and infuse them with a delicious white creamy gravy. All day you're going to smell this. For this recipe, I'm going to be using 4 pork boneless center cut chops. Now when you cook pork chops in the crock pot just like this, then they turn white and they don't really have a lot of color. So when you give them a quick sear in your skillet with some delicious seasonings, then it'll give it a nice color because they'll get nice and golden brown. Heat up our skillet to a medium-high heat. You want that nice and hot. We're gonna add 1 tablespoon of cooking oil. We're gonna start flavoring our pork chops. We've got some salt. Just gonna go right across the top with it. Some black pepper, garlic powder, onion powder, and paprika. And then what I'm going to do is flip these over into our pan that's nice and hot, and then we'll season the backside. Salt, pepper, garlic powder, onion powder, paprika. Now we're just going to give these a fast sear. That paprika will give it a nice color. Yeah. Should take about 2 minutes. Go ahead and turn off the burner. In the bottom of the crock pot, we're going to place some carrots and potatoes. Now I like to use the long, thin carrots versus the baby carrots. 5 carrots. We've got some red potatoes, just the medium size. And we'll chop those up. And I've already scrubbed these off at the sink. That's the fastest peeler in my kitchen today. This one's got a better grip on it. I love that grip. We're just going to take the ends off, cut these into bite-sized pieces. And then we'll just cut our potatoes. Bite-sized pieces. I estimated about 2 potatoes, 2 of the medium potatoes per person. going to spray the inside of our crock pot, some nonstick cooking spray. We're going to add in the potatoes, the carrots, and then we're going to add the pork chops on top of that. And then I have that delicious white sauce that I'm going to make to pour over it. Just going to kind of mix it up in there. I'm using a 6-quart crock pot, so it can hold a lot. Mix those up and make it nice and pretty in there. Okay, let's add those delicious pork chops. Now I'm just going to pour any excess juices in there. Now we're going to go ahead and make that creamy ranch gravy. We're going to add in 2 cans of cream of onion soup. Now, if you don't have cream of onion soup, you can use cream of celery soup if you would like. Even the cream of golden mushroom, if you want to do that. We're going to add it to a medium bowl. Our second can. I'm going to fill up both cans with milk. That's 20 ounces of milk. We'll go on a swish. And 2. We're going to add in 1 packet of ranch seasoning salad dressing in recipe mix. This is 1 ounce. We've got a roasted pork gravy packet, and this is, let's see, 1.41 ounce size. This is by Pioneer. I'm just going to take a whisk, blend this together till we get all the powder mixes blended in. All right, we're going to pour that into our crock pot over the pork chops, potatoes, and carrot. Well, this is going to make a delicious gravy. Yeah, we're smothering it. Cover them up. All right, we're going to put a lid on. Now, you can cook this on high for 4 hours, or you can cook it on low between 6 to 7 hours. It all depends on the size of your pork chops, so make sure you give them a check and see how tender they are. Y'all need to come up here and check this out. I'm going to put this in a bowl, give it a try for you. All right, I've sprinkled some fresh chives, or you can put fresh parsley on here. That sauce is so delicious. Takes those pork chops to a whole nother layer of flavor for sure. Today we're going to take a page out of my first cookbook, Catherine's Plates, Making Home Cooking Simple, Easy, and Delicious, and we are going to make crock pot Swiss steak. We're going to take these delicious beef cube steaks and we are going to make these so tender. I'm going to be using my crock pot as a slow cooker. Go ahead and make the dredge. I'm just going to use a pie plate because it's long and narrow and we can get our cube steaks in there to dredge them. So in that I'm going to add 1 cup of all-purpose flour, whatever flour you're using. I've got salt. I'm just going to sprinkle it right across the top. I'm going to say about 1/4 teaspoon. Black pepper. Again, 1/4 teaspoon right across your flour. Garlic powder, 1/4 teaspoon. There we go. Some onion powder right across the top. All right, I'm just going to take my whisk, just kind of blend this together. So what we're going to do now is season our steaks on both sides as we put them into our skillet right here. I'm just using a 12-inch cast iron skillet. I'm going to place a little bit of oil in it. I'm doubling the recipe. All right, we're going to put our skillet on a medium-high heat. All right, we're going to bring our cube steaks over, pick up the first one, place it in the flour, press it down, turn it over, press it down. All right, let's add that. What we're going to do is just take our cube steak, kind of shake it off, place it in the pan. Now we're going to let those sit for about 3 to 4 minutes on one side, and then we'll flip it over. I'm going to be doing these 1 to 2 at a time. I'm going to add this one. All right, 3 minutes. Flip these over. 3 more minutes. We're ready to pull these out. We're going to place them on a plate. And then we'll do the other ones. All right, we're going to start with our vegetables now. I've got 6 carrots. It's not in my original recipe, but we have found that we love when these are slow cooked and with the Swiss steak. And then we've got 2 bell peppers and 2 onions. So I'm just going to peel these, chop them kind of small. All right, I'm just using my fastest carrot peeler in town. All right, let's give these a chop. All right, we got our carrots done. Let's go into these 2 green bell peppers, 2 yellow onions. So I've got my pan heated back up. As you can tell, it's sizzling a little bit. We're going to add in 2 cans of diced tomatoes. These are 14-ounce cans. We're going to add 3 cups of beef broth. We're going to take some minced garlic. I'm going to add in about 1 tablespoon. There we go, right on top. Bring my heat up a little bit, bring that to a boil. And a little bit of Worcestershire. Right, I'm going to scrape the bottom of the pan. Now I'm going to add in a little bit of my flour that I had left over. This will help thicken things up. A couple of tablespoons should do it. Get my whisk. Get that flour incorporated in. All right, we're going to add our carrots, celery, and onions. Now I'm going to mimic the flavors that I put on my cube steaks. I'm just going to go across the top, some salt, some black pepper, garlic powder, and we got onion powder. I'm just going to stir this up as it comes to a boil, get all those flavors together, and then we're going to put this all into the crock pot. Just going to pour it all in. There we go. All right, we're going to take our cube steaks and we're going to submerge them in. We're going to place a lid on. I'm going to cook this on high about 4 to 5 hours, or you can go on low between maybe 6 to 7 hours. You really want to make sure that your cube steaks are nice and tender. Make sure that your vegetables, whatever you have in here, are nice and tender also. 4.5 hours, look where we're at. Doesn't that look delicious? Let's find one. Oh, look at that. Y'all, these are very tender. I already dragged a fork through them. Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm serving this over my chicken rice. Look at that sauce. Oh, yeah. Perfect. You don't even need a knife for this. Look how that breaks apart. Very tender. I'm gonna have it with a little bit of rice, tomato, onion, some pepper right there. I'm going to give this a try for you. That was so good. We're going to make delicious slow cooker stuffed bell peppers in the crock pot. We're going to make some rice. We're going to par cook it. We're going to stuff these beautiful peppers with a delicious mixture of ground beef, rice, and some other delicious flavors. Oh, this is a fall dish for sure, even winter, because I know some of y'all are cold right now. Let's go ahead and get started. We're going to go to the back burner. I'm going to show you how to make the rice, and then while that's cooking, we're going to go ahead and make that mixture. To make the rice, we're going to use a medium pot. We're going to place 1 cup of water into the bottom of the pot. We're going to bring that to a boil over high heat. I'm going to give it a little seasoning of salt, just to flavor the rice. About 1/8 of a teaspoon. Once the water comes to a boil, we're going to add 1/2 cup of white long grain rice that's uncooked. Just give it a stir. We're going to place a lid on. We're going to turn down the heat to low. We're going to cook this for 15 minutes. It's kind of a par cook. We're going to make that delicious mixture in a large skillet. I've got 1.5 pounds of ground beef. You can go either way on that. We're going to break it up, start browning it up. While that's happening, we're going to chop up an onion. We're going to bulk up these peppers. Add lots of flavor. All right, just take off the ends, peel off that outer layer. Y'all, I have a lot of new cooks that come on my channel, and they need to know how to do different aspects of cooking, like chopping an onion, which I do a lot of. All right, we're gonna get rid of all of this and start chopping up the onion. Now I'm doing a whole yellow onion. Just gonna run my knife through in slices. Then we're gonna turn the onion sideways and then just run our knife through the slices. And that's an easy way and a fast way to dice an onion. And let's go ahead and we'll add it to the ground beef. We'll soften down the onion and add some flavor. Let me go ahead and finish browning up the ground beef and softening down that onion, and I'll bring you right back. We're going to finish flavoring this up. Once it's all browned, you want to drain any excess grease you have in your pan. I'm just going to use my old paper towel trick. Just fold them in there, let it absorb any of the excess grease, because you don't want that in your bell peppers. All right, we're going to remove that. We're going to add in 2 teaspoons of minced garlic. Just stir that in for 30 seconds. Ooh, that's some flavor there. We're going to sprinkle in some Italian seasoning, 1/4 teaspoon. I'm going to drizzle in now 1 teaspoon of Worcestershire. Go in with a little bit of black pepper, 1/8 teaspoon. 1/4 teaspoon of salt. We'll adjust it. Mix that all together. We're going to add in 24 ounces of a marinara sauce or your favorite pasta sauce. Turn off your burner. We're going to combine this all together. We're going to take the 1 cup of rice that we made and we're going to add it. Let's mix that all together. We're going to add in 4 ounces of a shredded cheese. Now you can use mozzarella cheese or you can use this Italian 5 cheese, whatever you have on hand or whatever you want to put in there. 4 ounces. This will help hold the mixture together and it's going to add some flavor. Let's stir that all in. All right, we're going to let this sit here and rest for just a minute while we get our peppers ready. I've got 6 bell peppers in multi-colors. Now all 6 of these will fit into my 6-quart crock pot. It's the oval shape. Fits in there perfectly and they'll all hold each other up, which is perfect for this. We're going to spray the inside of our crock pot or whatever slow cooker you're using. This will keep the peppers from sticking. We're going to take a bell pepper that we've already washed. We're going to take a bell pepper cutter. You put it right in the top of the pepper, twist around in a circle, and it pops that whole seed pocket right out of the pepper. Now, if you want to go in and try to pull some of the membrane out, you can do that also, just like that. Give it a little hit, nice and clean. Now, you can also use a knife to do this. You could just take like a paring knife, go around the stem of your pepper, cut out a circle. There we go. And then just give it a tap. We're going to place about 1/4 cup of some marinara sauce on the bottom of our crock pot. Okay, we're going to take our peppers and we're going to stuff them with the meat mixture. Put it all the way down to the bottom. Stuff it in there. And we're going to place it in the crock pot. Ooh, I like to stuff them good. I like to cook my meat first before it goes in the crock pot. It's a texture thing for me. People make this with a raw hamburger and then let it cook in the crock pot, but it takes a long time because you got to make sure that meat mixture in the inside is cooked all the way through. So I like to do it like this. We're going to place a lid on. Now we are going to cook this on high between 2 to 3 hours, or low about 3.5 to 4 hours. You just want to make sure that your peppers are nice and tender and soft and the rice is finished cooking. I'm going to be back. I'm going to show you how we're going to top these off. Okay, I've cooked the peppers for 3 hours on high. They're to the texture that I was looking for. We're going to go ahead and place a mound of cheese on each pepper. Now I'm using the Italian blend again. We're going to place the lid on. We're going to keep it on high for about 5 to 10 minutes until that cheese is melted. Our peppers are done in the crock pot. I just sprinkled a little bit of parsley on top, and I've plated some up over here. There we go. Look at these. I put a little sauce on the bottom of the bowl. Let's dive in. Oh, they're so tender. Look at that. There's my bite. Gotta get more of that. That's delicious. That's a thumbs up. That's delicious with that marinara sauce just flavoring all the way through that. And the rice still has its texture, and the onions. That's a perfect meal, you guys. If y'all new to the channel, make sure y'all hit that subscribe button down below. That way you'll always know when shows like this one here are posted. Ooh, look at those peppers in there. Let me know down in the comments. Green, red, yellow, or orange. Which pepper color are you using? Bye, you guys. I'll see y'all on the next episode.